right into the night if we don't get through these meaty items today. Thank you. Right, we moved on to our local board input. We have Waitakere Rangers Local Board Chair Greg Presland. He's coming to talk about the Waitakere Rangers Heritage Area Deed. Kia ora, Chair.
Kia ora, Chair. Kia ora, councillors. I wish to speak concerning agenda item number 11, which relates to the deed of acknowledgement with Te Karawamaki relating to Te Wānui o Tiriwa under the Waitakere Rangers Heritage Area Act. And just to note that the Act is now 16 years old and progress on the deed has been a long time coming, but I'm very grateful for the work that's been done recently, which has advanced this matter considerably. Can I urge the committee to support option 1, which is to establish a joint committee with Te Karawamaki and the Crown, supported by the community. Local board has resolved on this, and we believe option 1 is the preferred option. And we also believe it's important that the community is brought along as this process develops. As shown by successive 5-yearly reports and by the recent staff advice, the Act performs its protective job reasonably well. Subdivisions are limited, the area is not suffering death by 1,000 cuts, but I believe it's important to continue to rethink the application of the Act, and there are new threats such as curry dieback and weeds and slips that are emerging, and we need to be ever vigilant to new threats. In terms of a justification for the forum, can I remind members of the 2020 review of the Heritage Area Act by the Environmental Defence Society. That report considered the effectiveness of the Act and concluded that it was effective in countering existing threats, but it concluded that it was time for the operation of the Act to be reviewed. And if I can quote from the report, it said, "Consideration needs to be given to ways in which the heritage area could be kept alive. This could be achieved through the establishment of an independent body with dedicated funding to manage the heritage area on behalf of the public. It could either be a separate entity, such as a Waitakere Rangers Heritage Area Implementation and Oversight Body, or the Waitakere Rangers Local Board could be tasked and resourced to provide this specific function. Entity would be charged with managing the area in line with the objectives of the Heritage Act, while creating a stronger pathway to implementation. The entity would be responsible for overseeing the implementation of local area plans and continuing the state of Waitakere Rangers Heritage Area monitoring, and to suggest that this committee provides an opportunity for this proposal to certainly be advanced. We believe it's important for local communities to be involved in discussions. It's also important to be clear about what the proposal is about and what it's not about. And as noted in the report, it is about council and crown land, not private land. And private land is not included by definition. And although nature does not care about private property boundaries, and what is good for the park is also good for the environmental health of private properties, the committee would obviously be concerned about public land only. And can I suggest there's no need for us to be afraid? We live in a new world where te ao Māori values are increasingly important for environmental enhancement and protection. We should acknowledge that, and we should relish that. And I believe that we can trust Te Karawamaki and their protective instincts towards Te Wānui o Tiriwa. Can I urge, please, support for option 1 when this matter is considered?
Kia ora, Chair. Very succinct, very clear. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, there is a question. Councillor Turner.
Thank you, Greg. The Waitakere Rangers Heritage Area Review Act has a review every 5 years, and I understand that costs 100,000 or something like that. Are we saying that that review would be terminated? We wouldn't need to do that anymore?
No, instead of the local board getting it ready, I believe it'd be a good job for this new committee to do that. The reports, the two that have been done so far, are very helpful because they give a good snapshot about what is happening. But we've fallen down because the recommendations from the report haven't been pushed through. So letting the committee have this job and giving it the extra mana where it can actually try and get things done would mean that these reports would be more, they carry more weight and they'd be more beneficial.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor. Member Ashby, sorry.
Kia ora. Yeah, first of all, just acknowledge and thank you for continuing to turn up to advocate for the heritage area and to support something that's long overdue for one of this council's treaty partners. And so, yeah, first acknowledge. My question is really, and I think you kind of said it at the start, but this deed and what it could unlock in terms of collaboration on the management of the public lands. Does this do, I know the local board has advocated for better implementation of the Act for a long time. Does this get us closer to the local board's aspiration for, in terms of recognition of the national significance and in terms of better implementing those provisions? And also, does this get us closer to locals having a greater say in place-based approach?
Yes, thank you, Edward. I believe that it would, because this body would have extra mana and force behind it to try and get things done. The local board, we have consistently over the years always referred to the Heritage Area Act, and our belief that funding for environmental programs in the area aren't sufficient to achieve the objectives of the Act. And we think it's time for us to be given the help of Te Karawamaki and the local community to try and emphasise that message. The heritage area, some areas it's holding on, other areas it's doing reasonably well, but it's something that needs to be consistently cared for and supported so that the objectives of the Act can be met.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson.
Thank you. Just following up on Member Ashby's question, actually. So we've been advised through this process that the deed process will result in more involvement for local residents in managing the area. So would you agree with that statement?
Yes, we were online last night for a meeting of the combined ratepayers in Waitakere, and Edward spoke to them, and I believe it received generally a very good response. There's a lot of local interest in the Heritage Area Act, and anything that's done to enhance its status, I think, is a good thing.
Thanks. And just to follow up, so just so we're clear, so the Act requires us to do a deed of acknowledgement, right?
It's certainly a provision that's in there, and it hasn't really been addressed properly so far, in my view.
Thank you. Thanks, Cheers.
Thank you, Councillor. Thanks, Chair. We'll get you a step back, and we'll just get, I think Councillor Henderson would like to move. Did you want to second Councillor Turner, or? Yeah, sorry, Member Ashby. I should have seen the first arm. Right, all those in favour? Any opposed? No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, councillors.
Right, there are no extraordinary items, and we'll